Do you have one at home?
Yeah.
Do you? Like a
we-
proper full rig at home?
Yeah.
Where do you keep it in your house?
Last year it was really crazy because we would do, was it 6 races in 2 days?
6?
Yeah, so 2 races per day.
Who decides if it's suddenly going to be a wet race for everyone?
It's random. It's completely randomized.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
But if you're on a qualifying lap, and maybe there's a muscle twitching or
Yeah.
the eye twitching, it's really annoying.
Yeah.
And it can really mess you up.
What is it that makes it so special?
Going into the last lap, you can be leading, but you might end up in P5. So, yeah, the winner is never decided until the very end.
Hello, I'm Nicola Hume and welcome to Talking Ball. This is the podcast where we talk all things Oracle Red Bull Racing. We are coming at you from central London, from Red Bull HQ, probably one of the coolest buildings I think I've ever been in. Now, we are joined today by 2 very special members of the Oracle Red Bull Racing family, both of them world champions, because I don't know if you are aware of this, but all Formula One teams have a sister team that have a bit of a pro on the PlayStation. They're a bit of an expert on the Xbox. They love logging in and zooming around Formula One circuits from the comfort of their living rooms. Yet today we're talking all things esports and sim racing with the Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing team. Welcome to the show, Frederik Rasmussen, who is current world champion, and Jarno Opmeer, who was world champion 2020 and 2021. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I need to ask about your day, because I know that today you had your face scanned. Is that right, Freddie?
Yeah, I got it scanned earlier to go in the F1 game.
That is like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, but like, so Jarno, you're already in the game.
Yeah, I'd done it, I think, 5 years ago. But I didn't get into the game until I became world champion. Basically, all world champions are in the game as a character you can choose. So I had done it a long time ago. I think Fred had done it back then as well.
I was supposed to, but I didn't do it.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
Just little rebel, yeah.
In 2019, the chance of winning the world championship, Freddie as well. So they asked if they could scan our face. So I did it. Fred didn't do it back then.
How do they scan your face? Do you have to like put your head in a box and like cameras?
I think it's called LiDAR scan. I'm not sure if it's LiDAR scan, but
right.
Basically, yeah, they make like 30 or 40 pictures with some kind of system. At least that's how they did it for me. But
Yeah, they did it with the camera first, a
Yeah.
bunch of pictures all around, and then with some fancy laser stuff all around as well.
That's so cool. And be honest with me, when you play the game next, will you be playing as yourself?
I'm going to play as Jarno.
usually I choose someone else as well.
Do you?
Yeah.
No, don't lie to me. You must have played it as yourself.
Yeah, I've definitely. There were times I'd chosen myself.
Yeah.
But at some point it got boring and just started choosing someone else from F1 esports, basically.
So now you can play as Freddie
Yeah, I
as of
will.
next season. Very, very nice. Now, I have heard, Freddie, that you have been described as the Max Verstappen of sim racing. I mean, you have had a phenomenally successful career so far when it comes to sim racing. And finally, you are now world champion. How does that feel for you?
It was a big relief when I finally got it, but I don't know, maybe I just feel a bit more calm. I don't really feel any difference. And the approach is always the same.
That is like a proper world champion brain that you have in your head.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've won one, that's fine. Yeah, no, I'm just going to go in like it's absolutely normal, totally fine. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, how did you react when you won your world championship? Because you've won 2, haven't you? You've made your way through Renault, Alfa Romeo, Mercedes, and now you're here with Red Bull. How did you celebrate when you won?
Well, I won in the COVID time, so I was just at home. The first time I was at home alone. The second time I was at the F1 factory. I remember first time I was really happy, and second time it was almost more like a relief because the championship was really tough that year.
Yeah.
It was really stressful. I remember the last race was really stressful as well. First time I remember I was super, super happy. Second time I was really stressed the entire race, so it was almost more like a relief.
Okay.
It's after a few hours, the happiness wears off again. So
Yeah, and now you need to prep again for the next season to make sure you win
Exactly.
again and again and again.
Yeah.
Because you started in karting, didn't you?
Yeah, I started 20 years ago now. I think
Wow.
in the winter of 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
So I did karting for 11 years. Then I did a season of Formula 4, 1 season of Formula Renault, and then basically worked for MP Motorsport for 1 year, and then I went into F1 esports.
So how does it feel different racing sims versus actually racing on a track?
Well, obviously the physical part plays less of a role.
Naturally.
You can prepare a lot more. So, I think even if you're someone that's not very talented in real life racing, you've got endless of practice on the sim, which helps then obviously reach the top level. So, it's just a different motorsport basically.
I mean, I've had a go on The Sims because they've got them at MK7, and I went to sit in one, and I'm not going to lie to you, I was rubbish. It's much harder than I was expecting it to be. I mean, like, I drive for a living. I work with cars, and I drive a lot of cars for a living. But sitting in a sim, I went straight into the wall. I was absolutely, utterly useless, and it was not graceful getting in and out of that seat because it's set up like a proper Formula One car seat. So your legs are pretty much like up by your face, and it's such a weird experience, isn't it? How was it for you, Freddie?
Well, when I started, I was probably just as bad. I just had a desk, a TV, and like an office chair.
Oh, so you started at home?
Yeah. And like the wheel mounted on the desk, it would move around and stuff. So the F1 rigs are much nicer now that we have.
Do you have one at home?
Yeah.
Do you? Like a proper full rig at home?
Yeah.
Where do you keep it in your house?
Yeah, it was next to my bed for years. It took up like my entire room basically, and then I just had my bed next to it.
But like, this is going to sound like a really random question, but how do you get it up the stairs?
Well,
It
in
comes in
parts.
smaller parts.
Yeah, in parts
okay.
basically, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so now you're doing pretty well for yourselves. Now you've got yourself a nice office and a decent, proper rig set up at home.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay, and I also have to ask how you relax. Because let's say, for example, we're looking at Max Verstappen. He goes out, does a race, and then how he relaxes is he goes and plays on Sims. But you guys are doing that anyway. So once you're done on Sims, how do you relax?
Depends what my hobby is at the time.
Which is what?
Yeah, well, it changes a lot. Usually, like every 3 months, I change hobby.
Okay, so as we're speaking to you right now, what's your current hobby?
Now I actually do play a lot of other games, which I stream as well. Or I go to the gym. But I've done karting for half a year now. I had to stop because I kept injuring my ribs.
Yeah.
I did some running as well over the past half a year.
How were you injuring your ribs just from
karting
bad driving?
is really tough on your it's really tough on your ribs.
Yeah.
Especially for karting I'm quite tall. For karting ideally you want to be really small. So your center of gravity is obviously lower.
Yeah.
But also the chairs or the seats basically are just always the same height. So if you're taller, your ribs get a lot more weight in them.
That makes sense.
So yeah.
How do you relax, Freddie? Other games?
Yeah, at the moment I'm playing World of Warcraft and watching YouTube, and that's about it.
Because was there a particular game that made you go, right, I can actually turn this into a career now? Because if you started, I don't know, playing on your PlayStation, playing on your Xbox or whatever, playing Formula One games or racing games, there must have been a moment where a light bulb just went off and you went, actually, I'm pretty good at this. I can actually make a living out of doing this. Do you remember if there was one particular game that stood out to you, Freddie?
I think it's when F1 esports started in 2017.
Oh, so not that long ago, really?
Yeah. Before that, no one was making a living of it, I think.
Yeah.
It wasn't possible. But then it started to get a lot bigger. Like every day it got bigger and bigger, and then suddenly you could make a living from it.
Yeah. Was it the same for you, Jarno?
Yeah, for me it was, I used to be on the sim a lot with someone who works at Team Redline now as well, Atze Kerkhoff, in preparation for the real life Formula 4 and Formula Renault weekends. And I knew from that I was really good on the sim already. So when F1 esports came around, I remember I tried to qualify for the first championship. Didn't make it because I think you had to be top 40. I made it to top 40 in the first time, but the second time I wasn't home because I had some kind of training camp with the Renault F1 team at the time. So unfortunately I couldn't qualify.
Right.
But of course, then I think the year after they announced prize money. I tried to qualify again, I think so. I think I didn't make it for some reason. I think I was just too slow maybe. And then the year after I was with Renault again.
Okay.
But then in esports, so.
I mean, naturally, you mentioned prize money in that. So naturally, prize money is a big thing that makes you want to enter. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, because otherwise you basically can't make a living of it.
I mean, you're living like every child's dream. Like we all grew up playing games. And then I don't think I ever would have dreamt of being able to make a career out of playing games, but doing it professionally, getting paid for it, doing actual competitions. And you're living it right now. How does that feel? Do you have like pinch me moments where everything just feels so special?
Yeah, I mean, I used to do competitions on like F1 2012 when I was like really small as a kid. Just like a Dutch competition, which was just for fun, no prize money involved at all. But it was usually always the same people doing the same race week in, week out.
Yeah.
So it was always like kind of hoping that someday there would be like some kind of world championship of it. But yeah, it still took a long time. But yeah, I think for every driver, it's the dream to make money out of racing because it's very, very rare to make money in racing. For the people I used to race with in like Formula 4 and Formula Renault, they're still trying to scramble enough sponsor money together to do like Formula 2 or Le Mans. Because it's just not very normal to earn money in racing.
Yeah.
So it's nice, really, really nice to actually be able to make my work of this. So yeah.
Okay. So how does a normal season look for you both? Because I mean, you do like the same tracks that Max and Checo do for normal Formula One, but you do essentially half a season, and each race is about half the amount of laps of what Max and Checo do. Is that right?
Yeah, it's called 50% race, so it's exactly the half amount of laps. And we do usually 12 races a year. It's been like that for the past 5 or 6 years, I think so. So that's gonna be almost half a season of the real F1 soon. But yeah, maybe this year in F1 esports, we're not sure. We don't have the calendar yet.
Yeah.
Or know when it's gonna start. But usually it's 12 races. It might be more this year. We're not sure.
So if it's 12 races, what's that over, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, something like that? Because I know that there has been a few occasions where you've done races pretty much back to back, day to day, haven't you?
It depends on how they organize it, I guess.
Right.
Last year it was really crazy because we would do, was it 6 races in 2 days?
Yeah.
Or 3 days? 3 days, yeah.
Yeah, in 3 days, yeah.
6?
Yeah, so 2 races per day.
And that also includes qualifying, though?
And qualifying, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. So you'll do qualifying, what, in the morning and then race late morning and then do another qualifying session and then another race that afternoon?
Yeah, so there will be 2 qualifying sessions in a row, basically. And then at night you do both races in a row.
Quali, race.
Yeah, to be honest, it's not, the quali and the races are not that tough, or the event itself is not that tough. It's mainly preparing for it, because obviously we have unlimited amount of time to practice. And if you have to practice for 6 tracks, then that becomes a lot of work to prepare races, qualifyings, but also like wet conditions, strategy. It's just the preparation is the toughest. It's not really the event itself that's that tough to do 5 or 6 races. You're just preparing for all of it, getting all the information and stuff like that.
So, like, who is it that sets the race conditions? Like, who decides if it's suddenly going to be a wet race for everyone?
It's random. It's completely randomized.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. So, like, say across your 12 races, you're guaranteed to get 3 wet races, that kind of thing, couple of nighttime races, and it's all just randomly selected.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can't really prep for that then, can you?
Well, you have to prep for all of it.
Right.
That's why we have to put so much effort in, basically.
So how soon in advance do you find out what kind of race it's going to be?
When we're on the grid already.
Really?
Yeah.
Because at least, like, for Max and Checo, they can just Google the weather ahead of time
Yeah.
and
Would
go,
be
oh,
nice
it's
if
going to
we
be
could
like
do
this. Whereas you guys sit on the grid and then all of a sudden it's raining and you weren't prepared for it.
that. Yep.
That's pretty tough, isn't it?
And then you also have to figure out the strategy while we're also waiting to start the race. I think we have like 90 seconds.
Yeah.
So, and you both have like an engineer in your ear, like Max has GP. So you have Andre Kunkman, is that right? So what's he saying in your ear at the time?
We're basically figuring out what tire to start on, when to pit. There's not that much strategy. It's just about like pitting on the right lap and getting in the correct position at the right time.
Because, I mean, I've heard that all the cars, regardless of which team you're on, are the same. So it doesn't matter if you're driving for Mercedes or if you're driving for Renault or if you're driving for Red Bull, all the cars are set up exactly the same. So then what difference does it make driving for different teams? That's, I guess, then it all comes down to strategy. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And of course, you can change the setup, which can also change the strategy again, because you can set up the car in a certain way, go fast in the first few laps, but then you're slower in like the last few laps of the stint, for example.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, in different racing scenarios, some strategies are better. It's you basically can't know before the race what the perfect strategy is going to be, because it depends on what other people on the grid choose strategy-wise, how the race develops and stuff like that. So, you basically live on the go.
Yeah.
Have to adapt on what the others are doing and really understand what's going to happen later on in the race.
I'm assuming you two both know each other reasonably well from over the years. Is that right?
Yeah, we met quite a few times at F1 esports and other events.
So when you're not racing competitively, do you kind of log on at the same time and play against each other every now and again, just for a bit of fun?
Well, we practice now together, of course, because we're teammates.
Yeah.
Before, we didn't, because we were rivals.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're rival teams, you try to not practice together, because then you're basically giving information away to your rivals.
Okay.
Maybe after the season is done, it's all a bit jokes and you can race each other for fun. But during the season, you don't want to be practicing with other teams. So.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I totally understand that. We've had loads of questions that have come in, by the way, from the Oracle Red Bull Racing fan site, which is the paddock. So this first one is from Bas in the Netherlands, who says, Jarno, you've achieved some amazing successes before joining the Oracle Red Bull Racing sim team. Why did you make the switch?
Main reason was because I just want to be home more. In the past few years, I spent a lot of time in the UK. Didn't want that anymore.
Why?
Well, with all respect.
Is it because our weather is terrible? Yes.
Well, the Netherlands is not much better.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to be home more.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Simple.
That's it. Oh, okay. Fair enough. This is from Katarina in the Czech Republic, who says, how do you prepare for a race? Would you say it's more mental or would you say it's more physical? I'm going to go to you, Freddie, for this.
It's more just a grind, really. Trying to figure out the best setup, figure out the best strategies, and then grinding until you're fast enough on that track, which takes a long time.
When you were building up, sort of before you became professional, how many hours a day do you think you were practicing?
Probably like 2 or 3, not much, because I was still working or going to school.
Yeah.
So I didn't have much time.
So compared to now, what are you doing every day, pretty much hour-wise?
At the moment, we're doing 5-6 hours, I think.
Yes, it's quite a lot.
Well, it's going to be more once the season gets going, maybe 7-8 hours.
Yeah, that's a long day.
It's just like any other job, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Except you're in front of a screen and it's intense and you're having to focus the whole entire time. You can't just going to pop to the loo.
No. Unfortunately, when you're practicing together, you can't stop. But of course, mainly what we practice is qualifying, because that's the most important to qualify well. So then in between qualifying laps, you can go to the toilet.
Okay, fair enough. This is from Brankiza in Macedonia, who says, I'm curious to know what you think makes a great sim racer. Is it raw skill? Is it deep game knowledge? Or is it something else?
All of them, I guess.
Yeah, a bit of all.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can have a lot of knowledge about the game, but if you are really slow, then you're not really going to get far. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Practice, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See, even though I would practice really hard, I think I'd still be useless. This is from Michael in the Netherlands, who says, have you ever had, this is such a good question, have you ever had a twinkling eyelid or something else physically taken you out of your concentration during a race? And how did you deal with it? You know, like sometimes if you're really tired and your eye just kind of starts twitching a little bit like that.
I've had that, yeah. It's not bad in the races, but if you're on a qualifying lap and maybe there's a muscle twitching or the eye twitching, it's really annoying.
Yeah.
And it can really mess you up.
Yeah.
At least for me.
That?
I used to have like my eyelids twitching, but I haven't had it in a long time. So, yeah, no.
Oh, see, now I feel bad bringing it up because sometimes if you think about it, it's going to start happening.
Yeah.
This is from Ethan in the United States, who says, how much can sim racing transfer over into real life driving? So, for example, Freddie, if you were to be put in a race car and told to go around a track, how would your sim racing experience help you?
You still need to have like a karting background. For some reason, I think, people will go directly into Formula cars from like sim racing. I think still lack a little bit of that feel. It's really hard to explain, but it took me a long time to get used to the sim as well, on esports level, because you don't have that feel that you have in like a car. So it's difficult to say. Of course, the skill does transfer over a lot, because I think a really good sim racer will be in no time within 3, 4, 5 tenths of a professional driver. But
wow,
it's in real life the conditions change so fast. Wind changes really fast. You have to really have a good feel for it, which separates like Max to someone who doesn't make it to Formula One.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I have to ask, because you both are very chilled, very relaxed people, and clearly you've been doing this for a really long time. But there must have been that first race panic, the first time you signed on as a professional, entering the proper world championship. What was going through your mind and through your body on your first ever race, Freddie?
I mean, I've raced a lot before I was a professional.
Okay.
And at a pretty high level, on iRacing, it's another game. I won a world championship in 2017, but I was already used to like the pressure, because I was already racing a lot. So I would just get nervous, get the heart rate up, and then get super focused and just try to do my best.
Yeah. Were you similar, Jarno?
Well, yeah, by the time I did my first F1 esports race, I'd already done 15 years of racing. So
yeah, exactly. So wait, no, with you, we can compare nerves to your first ever professional on-track race to your first ever professional esports race.
To be honest, in the sim, I don't know the reason why, but the adrenaline is a lot, maybe not adrenaline, but like kind of nervousness is a lot worse in the sim than in real life racing. I have no idea why. I think because in real life, perhaps you're struggling so much more physically that you kind of feel the nerves less.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I was for some reason was a lot more nervous in the sim than in a real car.
So you've got the main F1 team racers. I mean, they absolutely love this world. Max loves sim racing. This is what he does to chill. And then you've got people like Roman Grosjean, who he was involved with Haas sim racing as well. What is it that draws people into this? What is it that makes it so special?
I think for Max, it's really because he likes sim racing. Other F1 drivers have not really seen doing much sim racing, to be honest. So perhaps they just want a team and that's it, I think.
Why is everyone so obsessed with it? What
I guess
makes
because
it special?
everyone can do it themselves as well.
Yeah.
And obviously they want to compare to the best, and then they realize, well, this is actually a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know. And yeah, I think it's usually the races are really exciting until the very last lap, because everyone kind of stays in the same train, because especially this year the DRS effect and the slipstream effect is so strong, which means everyone stays within a few tenths of each other, which means going into the last lap you can be leading, but you might end up in P5. So the winner is never decided until the very end, basically.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we still have more questions. This is from Una in the UK, who says, is sim racing just a really good alternative to real life racing for those who may not have the means or the money to start getting into go-karts?
That's what it was for me, yeah.
Yeah.
I just liked racing a lot, and I wanted to race in real life, but I didn't have the money or anything. So I started sim racing, and I still had a lot of fun.
It's great because then you've got other kids that are growing up that are then watching you and seeing what you've achieved and where you are, that they can go, yeah, I can do the same thing. I'll start off on my PlayStation, build myself up, build up my skills, and I could be a professional one day.
When I started, it wasn't possible to be professional sim racers, so I was just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
Still trying to be the best, but just for fun mostly.
So it's incredible. The whole world has just kind of completely changed and turned on its head in terms of sim racing. And it's now such a massive thing. I mean, you've got messages here like Lewis in Mexico, who says, I'm an amateur player and would like to keep improving. I'm practicing with the official Formula One game and a plug-in steering wheel. What would your recommendations be to keep improving, both in terms of skill and equipment?
The same I always say, you just need to practice.
I mean, if he has a steering wheel, then practice and compare to other people as well.
Yeah.
That's obviously a good way to improve, because obviously if you keep driving the same laps and don't try anything, then you're going to be doing the same lap times. Comparison I think is really important. Trying perhaps other games, other tracks, other cars as well, to see what you like and what suits you.
Nice. This is from John in the UK, who says, how realistic is the sim currently, and what technology could be implemented to make it even more realistic? Because I mean, I've watched it and it looks so real, so it must feel real.
It really depends on what you drive. Personally, I really like Assetto Corsa and Automobilista. That's the two I always use for real life preparation.
What does that mean?
Those are games, basically.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You've got basically all kinds of different platforms.
Right.
You've got the official Formula One game, which changes every year. But then you also got like some really hardcore racing simulators, like iRacing, Assetto Corsa. Automobilista 1 was my favorite,
right,
to prepare for real life racing.
This is from Girit in Austria, who says, when you mess up in a sim, do you just restart, or do you gain any valuable information from suboptimal laps? So do you just go, I messed it up, reset, or do you just keep going?
Well, sometimes you want to go back and look at the mistake, what went wrong.
Yeah.
If you don't know, but usually we know already what went wrong.
You can just feel it instantly.
Yeah.
So then do you just carry on, or do you just start that whole lap again if you're practicing?
We go back to the pits and then we go again.
Okay. So, similar to like real life racing then?
Yeah, basically, yes.
Right, gotcha. This is from Rodrigo in Brazil, who says, what is the worst thing that could happen during a competition? Would it be something like losing your internet connection? Has that happened to any of you?
It doesn't get worse than that, yeah. I mean, then you're already out.
Has that happened?
Yeah, I had it last season in like round 9, I think so. Luckily on the F1 game, if you disconnect, your computer keeps driving at like a slow pace, so you can rejoin the race, which is nice, because otherwise it's over. Like on many
But by that point, people might have overtaken you.
Yeah, of course. But at least, like on other games, if you disconnect, you're always straight away completely out of the race. But at least on the F1 game, you can rejoin and actually keep competing, even if you lose 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You can actually rejoin and kind of come back into the race if you do really well. So
yeah. Have you experienced that as well then, Freddie?
Not in an actual race, I think. But there's been other issues.
Is that because you just buy the best Wi-Fi ever?
Yeah, my parents did back in the day. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that is worth the extra money just to make sure you can stay in a race and you don't have those problems.
Yep.
Yeah. This is from Ernesto in Mexico, who says, what is the funniest part of your job?
I think, to be honest, the most fun part is open lobbies, like driving with random people who are like really shit, basically. Because, they just... sometimes they're almost like obstacles. Sometimes I go into like an open lobby, so like with a lot of random people.
Yeah.
And I turn all the assist off, so everyone that starts spins straight away off the line. Whereas we have to drive with all assist off. Of course, a lot of good people join as well, so they try to find their way through as well.
Right,
but,
I see.
I do sometimes all kinds of challenges where you have to try and finish a 5-lap race without any rules, so everyone can cut corners, take each other out, and then you try and not get taken out and cut all the corners, which is quite fun.
Yeah. What's your kind of favourite setup with the car then? Are you so different with how you like to race your own cars?
This year we make quite different setups.
Yeah. It really depends. Like some tracks we've got identical setups, and then we go to another track and we drive like completely opposite setups, and we do almost the same lap time. So it's it depends.
I mean, you're both living pretty awesome lives, but was there a backup plan? Like, what would you be doing if you wasn't doing this right now?
I think I would be a car mechanic.
Oh, really? Of course. Yeah.
I was an apprentice back then when I quit that to focus on this.
Yeah. So for you, it's always been living, breathing cars, racing.
Yeah, it was the only thing that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Would you be like a normal car mechanic or a racing mechanic?
Probably just normal.
Okay.
I wasn't really that into it. I wanted to drive, not make the cars.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jarno?
I did try like personal training school, but then I stopped doing that because I went to do esports.
Yeah.
But yeah, to be honest, I didn't like it much.
You can say there was no backup plan.
No, there wasn't really a backup plan.
You can absolutely say that. I don't have a backup plan. I've fell into this job. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have it.
Yeah. No. I kind of always was the plan for me and my dad to that I wanted to get into racing and make my job out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, not massively a backup plan, no.
When it comes to a race, because you've both you've brought up your families. So when it comes to an actual like world championship race, are they there in the room with you, supporting you, or do they just watch the streams and leave you to it? What's the way that you play it with your families?
They just watch, really. So
they won't be in the same room as you. They'll watch from a different room.
Yeah, it would be annoying if they were standing right behind.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Because they would, my parents would annoy me as well if they were in the same room as me. Are you the same?
Yeah. I mean, it's normal because you need to be, just focused on your own race.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we do quite a lot of races as well, like once or twice every week. So, I think they don't follow every race.
Okay.
Not anymore. I think my dad used to. Now I think sometimes he just watches it back in the morning or goes to like the last lap and checks where I finished.
Look, I want to leave you with this really, really lovely message that we got from a listener who says, this is from Tamara in Slovakia. I just really want to tell you that I'm rooting and cheering for you. I love sim racing and I'm thrilled with each of your successes. Wishing you lots and lots of luck and most importantly, have a lot of fun.
That's very sweet.
How nice is that? The fans are out there and they're loving it. So give them what they want and go and smash it this season.
We're going to try.
Yeah. Freddie, Jarno, thank you so much for joining us on Talking Ball. It's been lovely chatting with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Talking Ball will be back very soon. So make sure you subscribe. We'll see you next time.